Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Mohammed Shukri in Bahrain. Good morning, Mohammed.
Good morning, Graham and Phoebe here from Bahrain.
Evie in Dubai, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mohammed. Good morning, Graham. Good to be here, and greetings to all from Dubai.
Now, let me just give a little bit of a rebrief. I've never used the word rebrief before, I just made it up. On who we are. I'm Graham Orr, Certified Master of the Leadership Challenge. And every week I have this conversation with these two gentlemen who come into this kicking and screaming, saying, Graham, what do you mean we're talking about leadership? I say, yes, come on, we've got to talk about leadership. And we are very closely aligned to the Leadership Challenge. I'm a certified master, and I did some numbers the other day, and it's about 15 years, I think, that I'm a certified master, or 14, I don't know, a lot. And these two gentlemen are also experts and have wisdom on leadership, which is the most important thing. Well, it's one of the most important things for organizations these days around the world, and we have specialization, particularly in the Middle East. So Phoebe was telling us a little earlier, just to share with our listeners, that the Gallup organization, who always have interesting figures, have said through the research that they have done globally that there is a significant problem with a thing called engagement. Engagement is meant to be higher than it is. Engagement is critical for organizations, and a low engagement score is not good. Phoebe, what was the figure that that came out of the research that Gallup did this year, as you shared it with us before? What is it?
Yeah, so the global engagement score by Gallup in 2024 for the last year, which we are now in 2025, is 21%. And for people who are thinking, what does that 21% mean? Now, the information is like this. Out of every 100 workers around the world, only about 21 feel truly involved, enthusiastic, and committed to their jobs. And the remaining employees are either not engaged, they do not do their work, but without much passion or extra effort, or actively disengaged. They are unhappy and may even undermine their workplace. So, that is a staggering information that only 21% or 21 people out of 100 feel engaged in their work.
Let me make a statement and then I'll come to Mohammed. That means that there is a significant potential cost to those companies where engagement is low. And that cost will come in two areas. One is that their performance throughout the organization will nosedive if it hasn't already done so. Productivity will be at a low. That's one cost. And the other cost is people will leave. That's the other cost. We know that that's huge. Mohammed, your wisdom on this, please.
Definitely, and these costs come in different ways and symptoms. Not all the costs are very clear and direct. I mean, imagine, do you know how this worker engages with the customer, which you don't see? Do you know the level of quality she or he is delivering to the customers, which might impact the sales? Do you know why is he or she repetitively coming late to work or leaving early or having sick leaves where they are not sick, really sick, and so forth? So we can talk a lot about the symptoms of this problem, but the problem is clear. People are detached from their work. I just had a session for 40 employees, me and my team co-facilitators. When I finished, a lady sent me a message privately. She said, I'm really, fascinated by the training. It touched me a lot. And I want to offer my services to be part of your team. I like what you do. I see myself there. I was surprised she has a really decent job. This is a decent organization. I mean, and I said, but you do have a job, don't you? She said, yeah, but and then she went on. And many people wish that they are in her position. Many unemployed want her job or piece of it, and yet she is pieced away from it, and she is not part of what she's doing. And she's not alone. This is the one I discovered. Many people keep doing things. Although they were hired, this is the highlight if I want to mention, they were hired for a specific strength that she was accepted for, that they knew she will help them in the job and fulfill the duties in the job description, and yet she's not attached to her strength or where she is best at.
She's not engaged.
Not engaged, yeah.
No, so this is a cost. Now, there's another element of engagement that's important in a particular field in organizations, and that is a field with which you are a specialist, Mohammed. Not just leadership, but safety. So if staff are not engaged, how much attention might they be paying to the need for safety in what they are doing and the way they're doing things?
Exactly, yeah.
So that's another potential cost.
Exactly, yeah.
Downtime because of injury, because of potential fatality, because they're not engaged. Phoebe, sort the problem out for us. Phoebe, solve this problem. It's where the world needs a solution.
Yeah, I was just researching some information on this engagement part, and as per the estimates, we discussed some of the costs. They are saying from the Gallup perspective, the decline in engagement in 2024 is estimated to have a cost for the global economy, which is almost $438 billion. So that is the staggering amount of value lost in productivity. So I think the challenge is who can help in improving the engagement, and that is in a workplace perspective, the people who are leading the teams in those workplaces. And quite often what I have observed is there is lack of awareness among the people within the leadership how to be an engaged leader. And that is where we can provide our hand holding in helping how to create an awareness so that we have leaders who are managing people who are better in engaging with the workforce. And this is not rocket science. That is the interesting part.
Look, we know, I keep saying this, we know that there are significant advantages for organizations where leadership is at its best, when there is exemplary leadership. And I'm going to use some often used or quoted sentences. Leadership is everyone's business. Leadership is everyone's business, not just at the top, but everyone. And you gentlemen know I've talked about this maybe once before, but maybe certainly not on this format very often. But this is my procedure, my process of creating teams of choice. And I believe that any team leader listening to us now, let's just start at team leader level, not just at the CEO level, because the team of choice starts with teams, and then that becomes ultimately the company of choice. It's harder to make a company of choice in step one. You do it in stages. And if we have a team of choice, everybody, because it is a team of choice, wants to be there because of the work, the style of work that they have. They've developed passion for what they're doing. They are committed. They are on purpose. They love what they're doing. They are engaged. And there's a process to develop this, which I'll share with you at some stage. But it's a process that's easily done. In simple terms, the staff, the team members, drive this. It's all got to be set up by the manager, but the team manager. But the team members drive it. They create the environment where they feel engaged. Yes, and when it's engaged and they have created it, they can just keep monitoring it along the way and make any adjustments and changes so that it stays that way. And then other teams within the organization will say, wow, we keep hearing that this team over here is a great place to work. Wow, why are they getting that? Why are they doing so well? Well, it's because this is what they've got. They've got engagement, which they set up. And then we move this throughout the organization. And what we achieve is that everybody feels engaged. Everybody? Well, 97.45%. I know, I'm joking, obviously, but I'm not going to make a bald statement that says everybody without research. But most people will want to be there. And if they don't initially, they can be brought on board because they sense and they feel and they then know the engagement factor and the positivity that comes from that. Instead of just blaming the organization at the top and saying, well, it's this company, this management, this board of directors who are responsible and it's their fault. No, it starts at a lower level. It starts with whatever and whichever leaders are listening to us now. And I'm sure Vibby is just about to do what he always does, and that is to remind us of the 5 practices of exemplary leadership. And if you've got an organization where all the staff, even just in your team, are engaged with the 5 practices of exemplary leadership, the engagement level goes up. They don't want to leave. I love working here. I want to work harder. I want to find better ways of doing things. I want us to be even more successful. That's the engagement that we get, one team at a time. I'm going to pause now. That might surprise you.
Thank you, Graham, for introducing us to the solution part. Now, yes, we know the leadership challenge provides a beautiful opportunity for us to apply some of the practices. But before going to that, I just want to also explore and hear from Mohammed also some of the thoughts. What like you highlighted some of the hurdles. We know leadership is a relationship. Why that becomes a challenge?
Why what becomes a challenge?
Why, implementing, for example, activities for engagement or building a relationship, leadership as a relationship, why it become challenge in the modern workplace for leaders and managers?
Well, I'll break it down to the nature of human beings. We think human always will be motivated by what they get after they finish the task, meaning they like to be rewarded for what they've done. But that's what we do for our children with our children. If you take the trash out consistently after a week, I'll give you this. But what really psychology says that humans are more motivated by the task itself, progress itself. So in other words, is it rewarding? It's not rewarded, it's rewarding. And guess when people feel that the same work that they are doing is rewarding, all right, then they will be much more motivated and engaged rather than waiting for the salary, which we know salary is a reward. We know incentives are a reward, but they come at a time, and I can fake things until I reach to the end of the month, for example. And the other problem is not everybody is rewarded, all right? Sometimes we recognize a person and we ignore all the other 30 people who are really doing a good job, but we only reward at the end. So bottom line is this: if we have people doing things, then they feel they are doing a rewarding thing, they will be motivated. Where does the leader come then here? Okay, the leader is job is to bring their attention how good they are at what they do every step of the way, not necessarily when they accomplish the task or the assignment. You need to acknowledge people and say that, wow, how did you fill this sheet so fast? I mean, it's part of the task. It's not the whole task. You're really good at this. For example, I noticed that how clients respond to you, how you respond to clients on the phone, that is really professional. And I like other people to mimic you, for example, all right? So this is where the leader comes and brings people's attention to how good they are, rather than a manager waiting for the midterm or the quarterly report to tell you where you went wrong. It's basic.
But the first step, if I may, to that is having people understand the purpose in what they are doing. And when they connect to purpose, that's what I'm here for. Right. And the next thing we develop is their passion for what they're doing. People need, in order to become more motivated and more engaged, to have a clear understanding of what the purpose is in what they're doing. And look, I'm going to come back to the health and safety area because it's relevant here, as it so often is. So what's your purpose in this? Well, I'm not sure. We've got to be compliant. We've got to do this. No, your purpose is to make sure that no one in this organization, particularly in your team, is ever injured in any of the work that he or she is doing, and that they go home at the end of each day to their families. That's your purpose. Oh, right. Yeah, sure. Fulfilling that purpose requires paperwork, and it requires compliance, and it requires making sure that all the procedures are in place, whatever, and that everything's working properly. But your purpose is to make sure that everybody goes home safely at the end of the day to their families. Oh, yeah, right. That's what I'm doing. I'm helping people do that. Help understand purpose. And I could think of the woman who was connecting to you and what you did in terms of what she wanted to join you and work with in the area that you're working in the training area. She probably sees herself connected to the purpose of helping people change for the better.
Yeah.
She's probably saying, wow, if I could do that, I would feel really fulfilled. If I could help people understand the new learning that's going to make life easier for them. Oh, that would mean at the end of the day, when everyone's been through an exciting, engaging, fulfilling, purposeful training program, that they're going to take on board and do something with to save the company costs, but also to save whatever. That's a purpose that I have.
Inspire a shared vision.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. But that might be where she's making a connection. She might be an absolute whiz at pick something really complex, I don't know, but she might be an absolute whiz at this. And yet she said, oh, boring. I do it, but I could do it in my sleep. And I know that there are people who are highly regarded for a particular function, but it doesn't push their buttons anymore. In this case of this woman. So her engagement level is likely to be down. But if the discussion she had with you was about getting into a role where there was genuine purpose that she connected with.
I think, Graham, you're pointing also to one aspect, like how can I, as a manager of such an individual, model the way so that I am showing what way I can bring change, what way I can inspire people. And when what I am reflecting is if that is happening in the workplace, people may not have the question, how can of a thought process that why I should leave from this beautiful workplace where I am inspired daily. I am also, for example, challenged to bring new ideas and thoughts and processes. So the third practice of leadership challenge. Okay, my leader, my manager is helping me to think differently, to explore ways in which I can make difference to the stakeholders I am serving. So I think you are also trying to bring that engagement can be experienced in real life when we apply the leadership challenge practices.
Of course, but I want to bring back a little bit from what you were saying about the leader and someone talking to the leader and the leader demonstrating the 5 practices. Yeah, of course. But I want the leader, the team leader, let's just call him a team leader or the manager, to be able to express to them what his purpose is. Because if he doesn't have a purpose that he can express, that has them knowing that he has passion for what he's doing, they're going to say, well, we'll just turn up and be here and we'll check in each day and I'm here. My body is here, but my mind is somewhere else. But if the leader can inspire by what he says first, by saying, the thing that drives me every day, the thing that gets me out of bed every morning, is not the alarm going off. It's not my children screaming because of the, no. It is this particular thing that has me coming in here to achieve this. And I'm coming back to the safety issue. Maybe my sole purpose is to make sure that this organisation has total zero accidents or lost time as a result of performance workplace safety issues. And then the people and say, wow, we want to be part of it. So it is very much a part of the vision, inspiring shared vision, for instance. This is about his passion for what he's doing. Yes, Phoebe, Mohammed.
I want to pick on what something Phoebe said reminded me of a situation. It's up, the challenges, excitement, etc. If the work is steady and routine, and anybody can go bored. In safety, also we have an explanation for why the long freeways between cities, especially here in the Middle East, where there are not much landmarks. If you're traveling in the desert areas, that the roads anywhere in the world, even in the United States, the roads are never straight. Although making the roads straight, I mean one straight line, linear line, will take you quicker to the destination. But there is a danger in that. The drivers might fall asleep or fatigue or dizzy. So that's why the roads are twisted, and curved, so that you will have to pay attention. And this is where Phoebe reminded me of this. If the work is exciting and diverse, and you bring that diversity and challenge, people like challenge, people like problems to solve. All right, they like to go and venture into an adventure. Again, the same program that day, the same program when I started, and we asked the audience, you're going through a change, your organization is going through a change, how do you feel? And while we expected, most of the answers are fear, not sure, uncertain, which was the case. Most of the answers was unsure, uncertain, what's going to happen. One lady there stood out. She's a senior. She said, I am excited. What? You don't know what the future is holding for you. I am excited about this change. And in fact, the change, the constant change brings, diversity. And you like the movies that way. You love watching matches, football matches, because of the uncertainty and change. So let the leader bring problems to the table and trust his team members that I want you to take this. What? I never took a full project before. I want you because I know you're going to solve this. And thank you, Phoebe, for reminding me that we need to create that, excitement and challenge in work for people to engage.
Here's one thing that I suggest. I absolutely agree with you, but with one stage introduced before that. But I absolutely agree with what you're saying. And that is a conversation that the leader has with every team member. And I suggest that this should be done individually, but you can do it in a team meeting and say, I want you to tell me what it is that brings you to work every day. And don't say a nice big car. I want you to tell me why you come here every day. What is it you get out of being here? Yep, I know money is important, but why do you come? And I know the responses because I ask this question often in workshops. Why do you come? What is it you get out of work? My theory is that one person in 18 will say, I come for the money. Okay, I'm saying that because that's generally the sort of thing. If I've got a group of 18 or 20 people, one person will say, I'm here for the money. And I'll say, do you want more money? Yes, I do. Great. I'm going to help you get more money. I'm going to help you, in other words, help you perform even better than you are performing so that you get the next promotion. For instance, some people say, I just love the challenges. Okay, great. I'm going to find some challenges for you. And maybe not every day, but I'm going to keep that in mind as a driver for you. Someone might just say, I love the teamwork. Okay, great. Do you see what I'm creating here? I'm creating an opportunity that's specific to someone who says, I love challenges or I love working with the team. So I'm not going to make an assumption that everybody loves challenges. But if I've got someone who says, I just wait, the challenges that come just excite me. Okay, great. I'm not going to overload that person with challenges, and I know that they've got to continue to get to their normal work done. But I want to identify what that person or each of these people find specific for them as to why they come to work. And I, as their team leader or manager, I'm going to feed that. I just love interacting with the customers and solving their problems. Great, let's do this for you, right? So that they are more personally connected to the driver of getting more engagement, right? Because we can't make assumptions that everybody wants challenges. We can't. Okay, Phoebe.
I think this actually leads to the next practice, enabling others to act. And I'm reminded of my own experience. This is with respect to two workplaces, and in a workplace where challenges were given as a task in addition to what you are doing, and in a space where challenges are given where you are also enabled. And in the situations and reactions as an employee myself was different. When there is an enablement happening from my line manager, my departmental head, and the joy, the passion, the cherishness for that is totally different. And you are energized. Okay, this let me prove myself. This can be done. Becomes and that leads to action. And you feel, okay, I am valued in that space. I am given that opportunity to experiment and take risk. And quite often, what I felt is, in the other workplace, the leader or departmental head is not aware how it can be done. And in the new workplace, the difference is I experience, okay, this leader is giving us that opportunity to challenge him also in the process, or her also in the process. And that brings a satisfaction and joy, making the work more like play.
Yeah, but I really must make this point, and I'm sure we're not overlooking it at all. You responded really positively to that, but the leader cannot make the assumption that everybody in his 12-person team is going to respond the same way. He can't, because someone's saying, I can't just cope with new things. What I want to do is work in a small team to get things done. So it's the questioning, the discussion, and all of this comes out of the relationship that the leader has with his team members to find what their hot buttons are, to find what gets them going, and to provide individualized, in this case, opportunities for them individually to work on things that they're passionate about. And that's going to, we have got a task, the three of us, to reduce that global percentage of disengagement from, what is it, 60, 70, 80% of disengagement. So
Yeah.
in the next 25 years, we should be working on that so that it comes down to a much more palatable and acceptable level, so that the world economy accelerates multiple times over. Gentlemen, I'm sorry to say this, I always am, but our time is up. I thank you always for your wisdom, for your input, and for the veracity. That's my big word for today. The fierceness and the passion that we have for our conversations here. Gentlemen, I wish you both a very successful week ahead in leadership and in changing the world.
Thank you.
Thank you. And please subscribe, comment, share it with your friends, your network. Let us spread the word and connect to us.
Thank you very much.